Hey guys, welcome back, and I hope that you guys are having a good festive season, good and safe festive season. Anyway, I've got to do a voiceover on this one here because this here was a 7-day build from paint or from roof, if you can call it that. This here was a 320 power that came in, and it basically came in for a spray job and a color change, and we were supposed to put a S54 motor into this here, but there's actually another S54 project, so we ended up going back to the M20 in this guy here, and it became a bit of a rush because we found out quite late there was some miscommunication between the middleman and the client himself that the guy had to be in or given back to him at the 20th, and we were only receiving the car a week before the 20th from the roof guys, and at that point it was still a shell. So anyway, when the car came in, these are all clips that I put together basically just to show you more about it, right? Because we really did not have the time to get any content for it. So the car came in as a shell. After further inspection, we started inspecting the vehicle, right? We first took motor and box out. It had a M54 plant in it, and the car is rough. The car is very rough. So like you can see in this video here, there's welding everywhere, there's brackets cut off and makeshift brackets put on, but the car is very rough. So in a photo, the first photo that I put up, you will see that the car actually looked decent from far, but it was very far from decent. So taking motor and box out, we then saw that the front cradle was smashed in. The rear had rust everywhere. So not major rust, but it had a lot of rust spots. So remember, this is not a restoration vehicle. This here basically came in for a color change and a good paint job. So we started stripping down and assessing further, and once we pulled the windows off, we found a lot of drama on it. So you'll see here, this is the old cradle coming back off, the fenders are off. We've stripped out everything basically, and then we started stripping out the rear quarter windows. And if you move towards the back here again, you'll see that we've done a lot of repairs on the car quickly, and then we've started finding more rust into the car. So we found rust on the quarter windows, we found rust again on the front windshield that's normally under the rubber, so it wasn't visible. The cradle was getting put on there, but rust in, I won't say funny places, but it was real ugly rust where we had to pull out quite a bit of the car to start working on it. So we had to start with it basically. We were in it, we had to go through it. So basically 320 body. At this point we were still doing S54, then we changed to the M20. This here was some prep work basically after the rust, so we had to plate it through, panel it through, get it cleaned up, and then we had to start getting the surface rust on this here cleaned up before she got primered. And you can see here now we started masking it up basically for paint, but this is before finding out basically all the other rust issues. And we had to use some body filler here. Look, the body came with a lot of body filler. So again, this here wasn't a restored vehicle, it came in for a respray, but we found a whole lot of body filler underneath the car, and we had to get down as far as we could, straighten up, reduce the filler as far as possible, fix up the rust issues, change the front cradle over. So we had to look for a second and good one on that, and basically get the car prepped up for paint. Look, it was a bit of a challenge because normally we would take the car down completely with the front and rear suspensions off. We'd pull the harness out, the carpets and so on like that. So with the new cradle on, we basically started lining up. You can see the fenders were back on, lining up the bonnet. The battery tray had to get done as well. So we had to plate the battery tray out, but we didn't do any indents in it. Again, this is not a restoration vehicle, it was a build as such. So again, the difference between the build and a restored vehicle is that we would not take the car apart as far as we normally do. So with the car now lined up, There was a couple of gaps here and there still, but nothing too major. Nothing that we couldn't see to afterwards. Got the car lined up, and then it was now looking for a color for the vehicle. So now with basically looking for color, we going back and forth with the customer, and the customer actually chose a color that at first I wasn't in favor of. He chose a Brooklyn gray color. So that came on one of the new X5s, X3s or X5s. So it looks nice on a new car, obviously, but I wasn't too sure how it's gonna look on the E30. So anyway, got the body done, got it into primer. You can see here that she came out very nice out of primer. We got a lot of the crevices, we got a lot of the areas where we could, but we couldn't. Again, it's a build car, it's not a restored vehicle, so I couldn't strip out where we would normally strip out and basically plate and powder coat and do what we normally do. This was a build vehicle, so we had to mask off a lot. The interior didn't get touched, the color on the interior didn't get touched on this car here, so we didn't want to have the masking marks around the rubbers and around the windows and so on like that. Sorry about that. So that's one of the reasons why we chose to pull the windows off, and you saw in the video that when we did pull the windows off, we found rust under it, so it was actually a good idea to do that. Masked off the booth area, we masked off wherever we could, and we got the car primed, so you guys could see how this car looked basically before the primer went on, or even before we started working on it, and you saw the issues in the booth. And we do also believe that this car was used for spinning, maybe not as a full-on spin car, but it was when we started putting the car together later, we found signs of them using this car as a spin car, because the tough carrier was torn up and so on like that. There was no rear, the calipers were on, but there were no brake pads on them. There were no brake shoes or brake spring kits underneath the disc for your handbrake. So the only time you do that is when you're trying to do a standstill, or when you're busy doing standstills and you remove the rear brakes. Anyway, here's the Brooklyn grey on it, and I was very surprised once the color was on. So again, it's not a restored vehicle. We had to move whatever we could move, mask wherever we could, and get as far as we could to paint, so, and getting that color change done. So you'll see that the fireproof matting on the firewall, we didn't want to pull all of that down and spend a lot of time on the firewall, but we got it as far as possible, so you cannot see that. Firstly, you can't see a lot of overspray on it because of masking, etc, etc. Color came out good. This here was straight out of paint. It didn't receive a cut and polish as yet, so you'll still see there's a couple of dust marks and so on here on the roof. There were a couple of blemishes, dust spots and orange peel on the rear fenders as well, and later on that all got taken away basically with a nice cut. We didn't get a chance. We did polish the car with the Sonex products. We weren't able to polish the way we would have liked to have, but she came out good. So you'll see that I've got a couple of pictures here basically afterwards, but you can see how the booth area came out, you can see how the engine bay area came out, and the color is actually a very nice color. It's a very subtle color. So having said that, it was, then we were toggling with the idea of what color scheme are we going to go with the interior and the roofs, and I actually opted for a cream roof and cream interior. I think it would have looked the part with the car, but with the timeline that we had to settle for the black, of which we're actually looking at keeping the black on now and keeping the black interior with it. But I really do think that a cream roof with a cream interior and the rim that we currently have on the vehicle, that would have been spot on for it. So you can see me going through the video here still with regards to the paint, and look, this is a blowover car, right? So it's a color change and a blowover vehicle, and we've spent a lot of time on body, but we cannot spend the amount of hours that we spend on a restore car on this here, purely because the numbers do not match up. So it's a very fine line to draw, but I do believe that this paint job here is one of the best paint jobs that you can find for a color change vehicle, and at the amount that we've charged, if I can call it, for that. And again, remember please guys, the cameras used here is not of high quality. These are basic phones that we've taken these videos with. So what you're seeing in here is nothing polished up, nothing hidden away. There's no filters and all of that crap on it. So anyway, having said that now, right, we're gonna move over to the photos that I was talking to you guys about. So this is basically, we had to take stuff, or this here got sprayed separately, and we went through a quick cut and polish on this side here, and we got a lot of the marks out. So the paint is still a bit soft and we can't really do what we want to do on it. Here she went through to AutoZone Gezina, guys in Pretoria. Abdul, awesome, got the roof done very professionally. I'll put his contact details in our link in the description. The roof got done very professionally, very nicely done. Then she came back to the shop. The shop looked like a madhouse. It looked like it was craziness all the way through. So we basically got the car back. It was not last week, the week before. We got it back the Wednesday late afternoon, and Thursday morning all the work started with it. So it was crazy. And this is the outcome we got on it. So M20 motor, custom had built the 2.9 motor. We supplied the rest of the stuff. Zen parts, Shaeen at Zen parts, awesome work, awesome. He was basically there every single day, because we ran through parts and ran through, and this man just dropped everything and came through. So again guys, if you need any parts for your E30s, for your older cars, Zen parts are the guys to contact. They are professional. There's good quality parts with them, and the service is there. That's all we want, is the service is there. Bottom line is, here's the outcome of the car. It's a very pretty looking vehicle. The rim we went for is the BBS RS 10J, and the guy in the background is actually the rollback driver that had to take the car back down to Limpopo. Interior, I had to slap interior together. I had to put seats in there that we had in the shop. It's actually 4-door seats. Door cards were from previous builds. They stitched door cards. They're not original door cards. We had to put it together, get the dash done, get the get a lot of the stuff done, and get the car at least starting and driving, just so that the customer could use it for the wedding. But we were unable to test the vehicle. I drove the vehicle basically for 4 kilometers and back. That's the time frame we had. The color scheme, tapered cover and intake, we went with the Brooklyn grey, so we had that painted over. We didn't do a powder coat on it. We didn't even have time to pull the masking tape or the markings, the BMW part markings, off the car, but we lined the car properly. We went through with satin black on the mirrors, on the door beadings. We went through with a Jamil, or the Jamil was supplied by another supplier, and then we color coded the bumpers, but we left the chrome on the beadings. So we did do a paint over the beading, but we left the chrome on there. Anyway guys, you guys know what to do. Like, subscribe, share. This here was a 7-day build. Really not bad for the car being put together in 7 days. It's actually 6 days, but 7 now. Anyway, again, thanks to the guys at AutoZone Gezina. They are based in Pretoria. The number is in the description below. The guys are from Sonax as well. Obviously, with the polishing and the cutting of the vehicle, product is good. Have a look at it. Then the wheel was purchased separately, but the tires supplied by our one and only best drive, Lenasia, Yasser and team. The guys are awesome there. You guys need to visit them. They will give you the attention that you deserve and need. And then lastly, Zen parts, Shaeen. All the parts supplied by for this car by Zen, besides for the Jamil spoiler. Awesome service, awesome pricing. And if they don't have it, they will make a plan to get it. Thanks guys, hope you guys enjoyed it.